What's going on YouTube? So I was looking into the Metaverse by Facebook and how they've changed their name, and it's not just a name change. Metaverse is deeper than that, and there's gonna be a whole Metaverse, and Facebook is not the only one. Microsoft is also looking into this, and it kind of made me realize how every single technology that we have received in the past 20 years that's been made available to the public kind of fits together when it comes to this metaverse. We are literally being prepared to be pushed into the scenario that was in the movie The Matrix. We were all conditioned starting from the first personal computer, then the mobile phones, then the video games, then the virtual reality, 3D, 4D, where you can actually smell and feel some of the aspects of the movies. Then it will be 5D and beyond that, and you'll reach a point where you can't distinguish between your virtual reality and your actual physical reality. And all these games that we have been playing for all these years, let's start with Sims, GTA, and all these games that made you actually invest into your virtual presence, into the player. You can customize it, you can do all sorts of things. Well, this was to prepare us for the future, where in the metaverse you will have an avatar. You can be whoever you want. That's why even some social media apps such as Snapchat has an avatar that you could choose for yourself, and some people actually put in a lot of effort to get their avatars right. And all of this is to get to us to a point where the metaverse is our primary reality. Cryptocurrencies and the new wave, NFTs, which might sound ridiculous, but they are being sold for millions. JPEG files, GIFs, pictures are being sold for millions, and you can just say, oh, I have a copy or the original of this, while I can just go on Google and just copy and paste it for free. But in the metaverse, this artificial or virtual art that you own in your metaverse, that will seem like a real art. So it's all connected, and the cryptocurrency is going to be the currency of the metaverse. And by the way, all of this is not for the elite. Let's not get that wrong. This is for the commoners, as they look down at us. Steve Jobs and Bill Gates have already said that they do not allow their own kids a lot of screen time. They don't allow them to use their own technology too much. Why is that? But they want your kids to use it to make them profit. Well, if they're not allowing their own kids to use all of this technology that much, they might actually know something that we have suspected for all these years, that these things are not good for you, and they are being used to program especially the next generation to get used to the world and be more accepting of the world that is actually coming. Kids nowadays, they all have tablets, phones. This is their world now, especially with the pandemic that actually pushed everyone to have more screen time, but especially kids. They will be the easiest to get into this. They are already trained for it. Even our generation, people that were born in the 90s or in the 2000s, even this generation was being prepared for this and will be more accepting of this. However, the new generation is going to accept this with no problems. So this metaverse will reach a point where, if you remember in the movie The Matrix, there is a scene where human beings are literally connected to this power plant, and they are in the matrix, so their physical actual bodies are in tanks, but they are being connected to the matrix and their energy is being used. Now in the movie they show that the machines are using the human beings for their energy, but I believe it's deeper than that. The human bodies will be used. There will be some humans, the population will definitely go down. Listen, with all this technology and so much going on, the Neuralink, and if people are connected to technology 24/7 or most of the day, this is bound to have impacts on the human beings, on the brains, the waves that comes out, the rays. All this has negative impacts on us. So human beings, the population is going to decrease, and the life expectancy, I do not think human beings will be able to live as long as they currently do if they are connected to this technology 24/7. This is not natural. So human beings, there will be human beings still, but they will be for select purposes. So if they want to live, they can live in the metaverse, while the actual elite, they'll be living in the real world where they can actually trade in real money and own real stuff, while the commoners can own these stupid meaningless stuff on in the metaverse, and they can have their avatars. And in fact, it will reach a point where they will not know that they are not the person that they see in the metaverse. That's why in the movie they had to be unplugged from the matrix, and they had to be shown how all of it was bullshit, and the reality that they thought were living was actually a virtual simulation. In fact, I'll take this one step further and say that even the metaverse is just an introductory thing for the actual metaverse that is coming. So in the movie The Matrix, in the simulation, the virtual reality, they were themselves, and they were actual human beings, and they had jobs, and everything was just normal. They were eating steak, and it felt real to them. They could not distinguish between this and the actual reality, which is why there was a scene where that one guy who had actually unplugged from the matrix, but he said that he actually enjoys the taste of the steak even though he knows it's not real, and he did not want to go back. That's the guy who turned to be the villain, or a villain. So this whole metaverse thing will reach a point where you will not be able to distinguish between your actual reality and your virtual reality, and a lot of people will be plugged into this matrix by the time they are born. So they will be in the power plant, but that's way further in the future if we're going by the movie The Matrix. Either way, all of this is looking very spooky. I, for one, will not engage in this. I will not be taking part in the metaverse. I don't care how much money there is to be made. It's not the real world, and as long as I'm alive, I would like to live in the real world. Maybe the next generation, if they're so used to this, they'll actually accept it, but that's on them. But yeah, thanks for listening. I'm out. Peace.